Doing it. Let's do it, do it, do it, do it. Oh man, today is going to be a good show. Hello, Wayward Crow. I see you. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we up and running? I'm so happy you're all here today. We're going to be talking about something that I think is very interesting indeed. You probably know what's going on with the NFL right now. You know, their big little protests. Where they're taking the knee. Well, no more. That's it's a thing of a past now. Not going to happen anymore. So the question is, was it all a setup? Now, I don't know if you could call it a setup. I mean, what are you going to say, that like Colin Kaepernick, that he was paid to take this knee and to be the poster child for this? I'm not saying that's the case. But I am saying that something that he did kind of fell right into line with most likely what this, New World Order, what they want. It's kind of like every time that we do something like this, they're going to implement something else, and it's very strategic. And it's interesting that right now the NFL has come out, Goodall has come out and said that you can't. Everybody's going to stand. And it's not just the players, just so you know. We're talking about everybody, all personnel, all staff. Today we're going to be talking about that. This show came together very, very quickly today because really the news broke about this just recently. And I saw it when I was on the elliptical at the gym. I was trying to get my cardio on, try to stay in shape because it's so important. The world tries to limit you and kind of keep you in a rut. But, you have to be mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually prepared if you want to be the king and the queen that you are meant to be in this world. So we're talking about this today. Man, if you look at that picture right there, I'm sure you see the little Nazi salutes going on in the background, right? That's a famous picture, by the way. That was taken many moons ago. It's a great story that goes along with it. It's a famous picture indeed. You've probably seen it if you haven't seen it before. It's the tragically powerful story behind the lone German who refused to give Hitler the Nazi salute. Interesting, right? It's interesting how all of this kind of comes out around the same time. Like this was just in the news. It's online right now. It's just so strange that it's kind of like seems to be all almost connected. I know that seems like a stretch right now, but by the end of the show, it's not going to seem that much like a stretch. I mean, well, you could tell me. I think that's what makes life interesting, is because if you don't question everything, you'll believe anything, right? And when you are being told that you have to do something or else, you really aren't that free. Well, we all know that. We're not completely free, right? We can be in this world, but not of this world. And that's what I'm getting at. Just so you know, see, here's the thing, is I'm not taking sides on this issue. I think everybody has a right to do whatever they want. Every time that the pledge goes on, I'm going to tell you, because my children are in school and everything else, I stand. And when I hear the song, that beautiful song, right, that anthem, I stand, I sing along because I like to sing. I can even hit that high note, well, in my head at least. That being said, I'm not standing for the system. I'm not standing for the flag. I don't put my faith in any of that. I understand that the powers that be, they aren't exactly hip on free thought and freedom, which is why, we see things like this happening today. But it wasn't that long ago that Hitler, he kind of did this as well. He made it mandatory for all Germans to salute. Mandatory. Kooky, right? And I'm not drawing any conclusions here. I'm not drawing any conclusions here. And I'm also not saying that Trump is like Hitler. That nonsense. That's all programming, people. Just so you know. That's all programming. That's all done very much on purpose so that it can get embedded into your head that this is what it is. Now, if that's predictive programming and setting you up for what's to come later, I can't tell you. I think that, of course, everything has something to do with that. But that being said, history, if it's not been changed, that's the thing, is soon we won't even know what's real, what's not real, because everything will be online. I mean, people today, they barely read to begin with. So, I mean, this is what history is. 10 years, that may change a little bit. He forced everyone to seek Heil, and of course, in this picture, we see the man who's crossing his arms. He's saying, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. So you see that I have the hand here pointed at Kaepernick. So, a little bit different between the two right now, because of course at the time, people could do whatever they wanted to do, and you're going to find out as the show progresses today that a lot of the coaches, they're not planning on fining people. Some of them, actually. It's setting a interesting precedent. But I don't know if it's just me. But like when I saw that, it was like when I saw all of this stuff, all of this, setup, all the news cycle about, taking the knee and whether they should stand, and how divided our country was, and how this was another one of those wedges that they were flipping in. By the way, every once in a while I may have an issue with my my live feed. If that's the case and I can't fix it when I'm talking, I'm just going to be like this. just so you know. One of my very cool viewers did this for me. It's been my Facebook profile picture for a while. I like it. It just kind of captures my energy. So as I try to fix my live stream, I'm just going to continue on with the show here. And I'm hoping that you all can hear me okay. I'm going to go into the chat right now. Hello, everyone. Hi, Tony. Oh, by the way, I want people to understand something. Today is a different day. I'm going to do something different. The second half of the show, about another 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be taking questions. So hold your questions till the end about anything. I'm going to take like 3, maybe 4 or 5 of them, and just hold them to the end and try to post them a couple of times so I can see them, especially if it's a good one. And I just thought that it would be a good time for us all to kind of weigh in on a couple of other things today, too. And I want to see if we're all on the same page. I want to see if we're all thinking the same thing. So this was about 9:30 this morning, right? Yeah, because I was at the gym, and I clipped this on my phone. I got to tell you, technology is just such an amazing thing. And it can be used. See, here's the thing, is everything's a choice, people. It can be used to enslave us, or it can be used to liberate us and help others be set free. So as I'm doing the elliptical machine, pretty much everything you're seeing here, I'm clipping pictures, off of the internet as I, scour the web with my iPhone 5 because I won't buy the latest technology. This thing's lasted me a long time. It's very inexpensive. Works well. So this came out. Donald Trump says NFL is doing the right thing with the Anthem policy. And I'm not sure. I mean, do you think that this is the right thing? That we should tell people that they have to stand and give, honor and respect to a song or a pledge? I don't know if you know anything about psychology, but if you want people to be brainwashed in a much faster way, the way to do it is to get them to recite things again and again and again and again and again. And you really up it up a notch by getting them to sing. Music is a powerful thing. That's why pretty much all my videos I have, some kind of music in the background or something. Some people love it, some people hate it. But I enjoy it, and this is my life, and I want to share things that I enjoy with you because I believe that it'll make your life better. Which is why I wanted to talk about this NFL policy, which came out with a tweet this morning, by the way. It was like a tweet or something, I guess. I don't know. But this is the statement from the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodall. The policy adopted today was approved in concert with NFL's ongoing commitment to local communities in our country, one that is extraordinary in its scope, resources, and alignment with our players. Right off the bat, just so you know, I love how people say, we are awesome and we're all on the same page, And we're dedicated to continuing our collaboration with the players to advance the goals of justice and fairness in all corners of society, so long as they stand when we tell them to stand, or we're going to punish them. Basically, just so you know, that's what's going on here. I just think it's so interesting the way they word things. The efforts by many of our players sparked awareness and action. I feel like I should read it like that because, that's the way like when I picture a bunch of men like Smithers all gathered around talking like this, Sparked awareness and action around issues of social justice that must be addressed. The platform that we've created together is certainly unique in professional sports and quite likely in American business. Because, of course, they're billionaires and all these players and their fans. It's all just entertainment. It's all just little toys, little shiny toys for them to play with, more lives to control and to, of course, extort and make more money off of. Many of these players, they aren't paid nearly the amount they should, and many players are paid much, much more because maybe they go along with that little New World Order motto. It's kind of like you play the game and you'll be rewarded. I mean that Colin Kaepernick, he made a lot of money, just so you know. I mean, I know that, and he was one of the top guys. This is like a 7-year contract. It was crazy, like 100 and something, 60 million. Now, he didn't get all that because there was a bunch of, things in there. If you don't get into the series, if you don't do this, if you don't do that. But the man, he made some money. And I know that there's like issues with the contract. He doesn't even know if he wants to play. I guess that's the latest news on all that. But the man, I mean, like I just noticed there was a movie about this guy. He's doing okay. This hasn't hurt him. Remember, this is a guy who's a multi-billionaire, right? Millions and millions and millions of dollars this guy gets. Let me finish. It was unfortunate that the on-field protests created a false perception among many that thousands of NFL players were unpatriotic. This is not and never was the case. This season, all league and team personnel shall stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem, or we're going to take their money. It's basically what's going on. Now listen, I'm not against stand. I think you should, personally, because people want to escape, and if people have been brainwashed to think that they should stand during the anthem, and that if you don't stand, that somehow you're spitting on your brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts and fathers and mothers and grandfathers and grandparents that served in the military, because that's what they do. They send us off to war and collateral damage, and then when we're veterans, then they give us a hard time, make it very difficult, and take one thing after another thing after another thing away from these people who've lost limbs, lost their mind, lost their lives, lost everything. Even 9/11, all those heroes at 9/11 who were dying from, the cancers and everything that followed, the Gulf War, the disease, how many people lost their lives from that? All these people were having problems. They couldn't get the treatment that they needed. People at 9/11 still having problems getting money. And yet they honor us, right? They honor us. because they're very patriotic, these powers that be. I don't know, people. Sort of an interesting thing here, because, you know, it's one of these things where I know that if I talk about this, I'm going to pull up the policy statement here. I know that if I talk about this, that there are going to be some people that really don't know me yet and don't really understand what I'm trying to do here and what's really going on behind the scenes. And they're going to think that I'm coming off one way or another way. And well, I hope that's not the case, because I always try to be fair and balanced, right? Like all the fake news. Not fair and balanced, but it's basically because I don't know what's really going on. But I do know that this is, no matter how you look at it, people, no matter what side of the coin you fall on, this is an infringement of somebody's rights. You know, they've used the social engineering to get classmates to frown on, say, a first grader or a second grader, maybe whose religion states that you shouldn't stand during the pledge. And right now, some children, they don't have to. You know, there's a lot going on with dress code. There's a lot going on with faith. You know, you can't have this, you know, this holy book, but you can have this holy book. You can't talk about this thing, but you can talk about this thing. It's like, you know, it's whatever they decide. And I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know if a lot of you have noticed that those that have been working for companies for years, you know, instead of getting massive raises, you see massive cutbacks. And I think it's because right now we're in a time where this system knows that there are people that are waking up. And no matter how this picture of Kaepernick played, where he's taking that knee, right? No matter how polarizing this was, you can't tell me that it wasn't 100% a psyop on all of us, right? Because it was forced down our throat to choose one side or the other, and to be so divided that to even voice your opinion, you risk losing, you know, friends, subscribers, whatever. Isn't that sad? So I wanted to ask the question, like, was this a setup? You know, I don't think some guy came over to his car and let me talk to you. If you take a knee. No, I don't think that's what happened here. Yeah, I don't think that's what happened at all. I'm not going to, this guy has, I don't think that this is a role model at all for anybody. And that's why it's interesting that this is the one who gets all the play. Anyone who advocates violence towards anyone else, regardless of race, belief, anything, is not someone that should be taking a knee for morals, in my opinion. But yet, here we are, right? So here's the policy statement. The 32-member clubs of the National Football League have reaffirmed their strong commitment to work alongside the players, blah, 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 right? And here are the, this is it, basically, right? They're going to stand. All personnel on the field shall stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem. They will show respect, or else. Sports Illustrated called this a blunder, which I agree with. Huge blunder. Look at what the Eagles safety, Malcolm, look what he said. What NFL owners did today was thwart the players' constitutional rights to express themselves. Forget constitutional rights, by the way, people. You're allowed to do what you want so long as it doesn't hurt someone else. That's like, do unto others as you want done unto yourself. It's the golden rule. So if you want to take a knee, you take a knee. You want to stand, you stand. The Apostle Paul talked about this, where people were arguing over whether they should eat meat on this day, or they should celebrate this new moon feast or that. Paul's like, man, if you're going to eat lettuce or you're going to eat beef, eat it. You want to celebrate the new moon? Celebrate it. You want to do this or do that? Do it. But do it all unto the Lord. Do it all unto the existing one, unto the one that is in all, through all, and is all, the everything that there is. It's interesting. I was listening to Leak Project. Rex, who is just awesome. He had a really cool guest on, and I got to finish it. He was talking about the dark energy, and it was interesting because it was something that I was contemplating, and then you see this man talk about dark energy and how this would almost be, it's like potential, and this would almost be the spirit, if you will, of creation itself. Like that would be a scientific way of putting it, like they use the word dark energy as opposed to God. Okay, so I'm not saying God is dark energy, but what I'm saying is if God is all in all, and with faith all things are possible, and that everything is working together, wouldn't you think that those that are in control would want to make sure you're not aware of your potential? Don't you think that they would want to brainwash you and keep you in the chains of fear so that you don't find out who you really are and you don't move on to perfection, if you will, to peace, if you will, to paradise, to the life that is yours to live, to the kingdom that you are meant to inherit? All you are is potential. But yet we have all these societal pressures, all this nonsense, this non-stop nonsense called simulacrum. I did a video on it. Watch it. Because what you think is reality is not reality. This is just a story to keep you blind to who you really are. So please understand that while I'm talking about this story here, I'm trying to get you all to see that we don't have to listen to anybody so long as we love. But the system knows that the instant people start waking up, and we are, that's when you need to slap the chains on a little bit tighter. And how do you do that? You do that by getting half of the country upset at half of the country so that when things come out like this policy statement, you have enough people that'll support it. Because back in the day, they chose this guy to represent something, to get everybody to basically pick a side so that they could just further control us even more. Now, if this is happening here in the NFL, start happening maybe at your work, start happening in school where you cannot not stand, you have to say the pledge. What are they going to force people? Force people to say the pledge? Hey, you're going to go to a state school. It doesn't matter if you're paying taxes for that education. You're gonna say what we tell you to say. You're gonna believe what we tell you to believe. So number 3 is personnel who choose not to stand for the anthem may stay in the locker room or in a similar location, but they're not allowed to be on camera showing that they aren't like everybody else. Because if people start realizing that they don't have to be like everybody else, then they can't control us anymore. Was it all a setup? This guy Colin, he didn't know. He's probably just trying to look important. I don't know, maybe, maybe he had sincere intention. I shouldn't judge him. That's right. Forgive me. I don't know what was going on in his mind. Listen to that, you see? Even me. Because you're hit with enough images and you're told enough things and you do enough research, you do enough digging and you find out, and anybody can seem like an animal. Anybody can seem like a devil. It's very simple to do that. Stalin understood fear. Hitler understood fear. Those that are in charge understand fear, and they also understand following the social norm. Now, our president, maybe he shouldn't be in our country. Now, John F. Kennedy would have never said this, and I'm not saying John F. Kennedy was a great president, but he wouldn't because, and I'm not talking about John F. Kennedy, for example, I'm talking about the time. And he also was assassinated, just so you know, after he was talking about exposing secret societies. You ever get a chance, go on YouTube and take a look at the very first commercial that played after the news hit. When I'm talking about being brainwashed by this boob tube. Maybe you shouldn't be in our country. See, that line right there, you hear it in your head, and then you think to yourself, maybe you shouldn't be in the country if you don't. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you shouldn't be in a country. That is programming. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is in on it. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is the media is taking whatever and it's making it a clickbaity little title, and that's what you're programmed to think about and believe. Was it all a setup? And where are we going from here? It's a big question. I'm going to go into the room now. I want to see if anybody has any suggestions, any ideas. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that this is a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure. Listen, there is a Christian genocide. Deval is Christian genocide. And you know what? I mean, it's everybody's genocide. I mean, it's just whatever. If you go to you look at what's happening to the farmers in South Africa, you know, but you think about how it was before. One in power, they hurt the other. Now the other in power, and they hurt the other. Whoever you hate, you usually become. That's why it's so important to love. Michelle's opinions. Hi there. Heading to freedom. Listen to people who know the journey, sharing with others. All right. Freedom isn't free. Well, I don't think what we have is freedom. But that being said, I love that I can come on here and express my liberty to you. I'm not sure how much longer that will be the case. Lauren, you had 8 black helicopters flying over your house. Wow. Yeah, I gotta tell you, it's weird. Yeah, we saw something too. I even looked like a rocket being launched. It was the weirdest thing. Danielle and I have never seen such. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. Fashionista says, Jacob, we support your cause. I don't know if I have a cause, but the media does lie and exaggerate. I mean, yeah, I guess I do have a cause, which is to help people to seek more and be free. I certainly wouldn't tell you that you should leave the country if you don't want to agree with me. But that's the thing, is that you get enough people going along with what they want you to say, and that's it. Let's take a look at some of the info about this. Okay, so indeed the rules changed Wednesday were a hallmark of today's NFL, full of cracks that will ultimately foil the stated mission of Goodall and the owners to return the focus to football. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Goodall said, we're going to get it back to football. Because, life's hard enough, man. Why do we need politics, right? We just want to watch a game. We just want to enjoy a game. We want to enjoy our favorite team. We don't want one of you to come on there and ruin it. I get that. And that's why I think that, I think that people should consider others. There's a way to speak your mind clearly without hurting others and without setting something in motion that then has to trample the rights of everyone else to follow it, because what you did was, in all accounts, selfish. When you do something and you're in the public eye and you understand that if you do it, it's going to send ripples, unless you thoroughly investigated what those ripples may be, you might, unless you take a second to think, is this the best course of action? Who is it that I'm really serving? Because no one cares about protests. Things aren't changing, people. Right? All these big protests, by the way, organized mainly by the powers that be that sit in the rooms and come up with ideas, right? That handful of people, that hidden hand. It's like a big show. None of it matters. As protests happen, whatever's meant to be is going to be. And whatever is going to be covered is going to be covered. That's why reporters need to report the truth. And when they're on live, on their big mainstream media nonsense channels, when they're live, they should say, hey, this is what I had to do. Hey, this is what they told me to say when I saw it was totally different. Got to stop being selfish. We got to stop worrying. Fear is such a terrible thing. There's torment in fear, and it is so easy to rule people with it. Stalin understood it. You don't think that the people that are in charge, maybe you shouldn't be in our country? That's instilling a lot of fear. And once again, if you're a Trump supporter, I'm not out for you. I'm not against you. I'm not for you. I'm saying we need to understand that this double-sided coin, it's going nowhere. It's just going to continue to flip. So you have some now. So now you have some owners saying, okay, well, like the Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens, they're going to. They now have a reason to avoid such players, to avoid a fine. But there are some owners like Johnson who he's going to pay for their fines, I guess. Anthem disrespect. I mean, come on, Anthem disrespect. It's not Anthem disrespect. I mean, that's silly. It's kind of like if you don't like a song, you don't want to dance to it. It's not about the song. It's about controlling all of us. So Sports Illustrated goes on to say the NFL is creating an environment in which it is forcing its own employees to stand to attention for the national anthem, while most teams will likely continue to gleefully sell alcohol, merchandise, and other concessions during the process, which is true. Oh, good grief. Along with the hypocritical stance that they will be watching each player under a magnifying glass to ensure the appropriate respect. In other words, you're cattle. We bought you. You do what we tell you to do. Now, they should be allowed to do what they want to do. And on the flip side, they should be thinking about better ways to do what they want to do. Because now it's going to infringe on everybody's rights. This whole thing that everybody's going to be going crazy about and talking about, all this stuff. Was it a setup? I think it was. And I'm not saying Kaepernick's in on it. But I do think that it was 100% forced down our throats. No, Jacob, it's called work. Eric H., this is a good point. Can you do what you want at work? Okay, right. Sure I can. I can. And I get you. But see, that's the thing is that, Eric, just think about this for a second, okay? because, the corporation that took over my wonderful company, right? Which I am very pleased to still be working there, even though it's quite a bit less, about 30% less than I was making, I was making a good wage. Now, not as good, but still completely provided for. That's why it doesn't bother me. So it all works out in the end. It all does. It doesn't matter. But they decided that, okay, not only will you be making less money, but now you'll be going to this meeting and this meeting and this meeting, and you won't be getting paid for those, but you're not salaried, of course, because everybody, especially in my line of work, you get, it's almost like you're a hired contractor, if you will. And I find ways to put my family first, because when I was hired, that wasn't part of the program. I wasn't told when I came and signed that contract, we'll say, that I had to stand for the anthem. Now, I will stand. Don't get me wrong here, Eric. I will, brother. 100%. My son is going to play basketball. Yes! All right, buddy. It's so great because my 4 children, my oldest, no, he's 17. He's just just such a good kid. So strong, such a beautiful heart, so proud of all my children. And that's why I put them first. Now look, at some point in time they could say you have to go or else, but I always find there's always a way. Your creative potential and power is much greater than the power of those that employ you. Remember, they hired you because you make them money. And if you're great at your job, if you don't go along with what they say you have to do, and you're not afraid to move on because you believe differently, they can't force you. So Eric, I don't have to, if I have to go to the bathroom and I'm working, I can go to the bathroom. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a big meeting or not. I can do things that are within the line of work that I was given to do. As long as I'm doing my job, I can think freely for myself. He wasn't hired to stand. That being said, he was hired to play football. And Joe, you are right. We all do become. Listen, man. If I was to say that I'm not a hypocrite, ignorantly at times, and probably sometimes I catch myself on it. Yeah, we do. We're always going to be. I'm always going to be geared toward one side. I'm going to always be geared toward all of you, and the way you're geared, right? But yet, I have feelings about this. Look, I don't like what he did. I do understand what he says he thinks he did, but I think all of this stuff is all nonsense. I think we got to stop looking at each other as different people. If everybody just decided to love, if everybody just decided that we are all, like, that you are me and I am you because we're all one. I mean, like, theoretically speaking, we're all connected. Like, I am linked to you, you're linked to me. Like, we're all connected through the internet. Well, we're all connected. We're all the same. We're all, you would say, children of a creator, whether you know it or not. Better to know it, right? Better to know your power. Better to know that unless you let someone take your power from you, you always have it. Dice Club, you make a great point, by the way. Great point. That people take a knee at the national anthem but wouldn't dare stay seated when a judge walks into a room. Well, there have been a lot of people have done that. And in a court of law, they can lock you up for it. Right. And you know why? Because no one said anything when it first came down the line. Just like if nobody says anything now, it'll get worse. And of course they pick, this guy to be the poster child for it because you want to hate him. But I don't know him. I don't know where he's been. I don't know what he's been through. I know he's not hurt. I know he's got a lot more money than all of us put together in the room, unless there's some great billionaires out there who've woken up, and I think it's wonderful. And I hope that you are doing wonderful things with that. Helping others that need it. It's so important. So important. David Lee, shut your mouth and get back to work, or else, right? Yet luckily, I'm not working today. That's the thing, is that, okay, so I was in television let me put myself up here, and I really do apologize that I can't look at you all face to face. I was in television for 20 years, so I get it. I worked for, I was Vince McMahon's right-hand man. Me and one other writer wrote the show. By the way, highest ratings ever, thank you. And it wasn't just because of me. It's because that I believed that it's possible. And then I went and I took over it's the fastest growing Christian network in the world. It's Daystar, right? One day I'm going to do a show about that. But I got firsthand knowledge. I've worked with these people. But you know what I did at Daystar? You know what I did at World Wrestling? I disagreed. Openly. Billionaires don't like that too much. Because I wasn't going to do things that I, at that age, felt were morally compromising and definitely spiritually compromising, because I understand that I'm supposed to do more in this world, and that the only way to do more is to love. Because the only way you're going to be loved is if you love. So if you start compromising, if you start doing what you're told when you know it's wrong because you're scared of losing your job, man, what a sad thing that is. Sad indeed. But that's what they want you to think. You think this guy got away scot-free for doing this? Was it a setup then? Sieg Heil meant, it's about victory, right? Hail victory, something like that. It's not that the words are bad. It's the fact that everybody had to do it or else. That's the trick. That's slavery, people. Slavery indeed. But we're buckled up for the ride. We know where we're going. We know what this is all about. We know that the day that we're in is the best day ever. We know that all this stuff is working together and people are waking up from it. We know that people can't tell us when to stand and when to sit, unless, of course, we're hired to be audience members for like Judge Judy, who, by the way, had a gavel. It's Mandela effect. I'm going to do a Mandela effect video, by the way. I have not given up on that. I know that a lot of people ask. Yeah, if you're paid to stand when you're told to stand and sit when you're told, then you should do it. You should do it. But if you don't think that this was all some kind of a big setup, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you at all. All right, so I think that I've beat this one into the ground enough. Why don't we take some questions? This is a part of the show I wanted to do. I wanted to answer just a couple of questions. If anybody has them. I'm going to go over into the chat room here. Dice Club says, I love you, brother. We should link up one day and do a charity event to spread the love. Invite you to... Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, man. Email me. All you got to do is go to my website. You'll find a way. You'll find a way. I mean, do you think that this is brainwashing? I mean, doesn't it, like, when you look at it, like, we were fed this thing, and then you got to tell me, you were angry at this guy too, or you were proud of him, one of the two, and you were angry at the other people, right? I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, do you think? Do you think that this is all some kind of a setup? I don't know. Let me read what Maddox, he has a big one here, so I didn't get to read it first. Let me see, I want to read this. You're comparing standing and hailing Hitler to standing for the flag. No, I'm not. And it says, nah. Too many people have died for the flag. Okay, hang on, one more time. Too many people have died fighting wars. Now listen, I come from a family of Marines. Hear what I'm saying, Maddox, because that's what you're being told. You're being told that people died for that flag. They died for the wars that were fought. By the way, the Iraq War, which was false pretenses, was fought under false pretenses. Those that died didn't die for that flag. They died for the power. How, Maddox, you're in this community, so you understand that, right? Too many fighting to free those people who didn't stand for Hitler. Non-comparable. Now listen, first of all, I wasn't there to begin with, so I don't know. But I do know that it took a long time. It was kind of like, it wasn't until Hitler was coming for them that we should fight. Everybody sat back. And there's the human rights violations going on everywhere, and unless it benefits the company line, what do you get for that? You get war, man. But no, I'm very proud of our military. I'm proud of our servicemen. I'm proud of our police. I'm proud of many of my friends are police. My brother is a detective. He's a forensic detective. I'm very, very proud. And yet I'm very, very grateful that I was too sick to serve. Because if you're paid to go to war and you're paid to kill other people because they tell you why to kill that person, and you're not afforded the luxury to find out, just like the police, that's right, K-Rock. Yeah. Now you got to remember, there are good people in the service. There are good people trying to do good things, but the problem is mob mentality. What you should say, K-Rock, instead of that, what you should say is F the system of control that turns people that way. You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Die Guy says, lots of dumb people too. I agree, Duval, don't watch CNN, fake news. I mean, really horrible. There's some stories about CNN where reporters were told to, like, shut up on certain... I mean, it's like, come on. So many people have been horribly, horribly, horribly treated, tortured, murdered. And it's all about money, and it's all about control, it's all about power. If everybody, who said it? I was listening to David Icke, of all people. I got to tell you something. I like David Icke. I don't, listen, I'm not into reptilians. I mean, maybe they're here. I don't know. I'm not into, there's some certain things that I have a problem with, right? But David Icke is, he's on the level, man. He's got some things that he said. I've listened to some of his lectures about exiting the Matrix. I listened to it last night. I just was, a viewer had said how cool that he saw that, I guess, that he was subscribed to me, which I was like totally blown away with because I know who he is. And, but I never really, I wasn't really a fan of his. I wasn't a big, but I listened to this hour-long presentation. My God, was it passionate. And I bet you it's peppered some of the things that I've said here today. It's just amazing how this all works together. But what he said was, he was quoting, God, I forgot who he was quoting, but he was talking to somebody about somebody who had said, if Woody Guthrie, there it is. I knew it would come up. It's like a Rolodex. So I use my my Siri in my head. It's interesting. Guthrie had said something like, I guess all the poor people, put your guns down, give them to the rich people, because they're the only ones that are saying fight, and they're not doing any of the fighting. They're not dying for us. They're not dying for us at all. Now, this is going to be on replay, obviously, so you'll be able to check this all out if you didn't get to catch the live show. I'm going to still try to get my live feed up here because I do really want to take some questions from all of you. Got a couple soon, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate you all. That's the whole thing. Something interesting happened just yesterday. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because I had noticed a change. I had noticed all of a sudden, where I'd been stalled, all of a sudden my subscribers just started taking off, and I was really grateful for it. I felt like something had changed. I felt like we've kind of gone to the next level, if you will. And so I had some Chinese food yesterday, right? And I like to ask the question. I like to say, all right, maybe there's let me see if I can get this. Let me get this out here for all you to see. So I was looking at everything, and I said, is this the time? Is this the time that I've been waiting for, right? Is this the time where more people are going to hear the things that are being said here? More people are going to climb the ladder, right? That's what it's called, Jacob's Ladder. There's a reason that it's titled that, because to climb a ladder, you have to let go of the rungs beneath you. And that could be scary, losing your footing. So as I saw the subscribers starting to go up again, and I was very grateful about that. I'm very grateful for all of you. It doesn't matter how many. It's a lot better when you see more, because you realize that, your purpose is complete and your vision is being fulfilled. And that's why more of you have to fill the desire of your heart. You have to follow after the desire of your heart. It's there for a reason. And you have to know that if everything's in God and God's in everything, that you're connected to it all and you can influence it all as long as it benefits the whole. So I had said, is now the time. It's like, and I kind of close my eyes. It's kind of silly. I do this. We do this at the house too. It's kind of a tradition where I give everybody a fortune cookie. And it's just fun. Because if you believe everything's possible, then you believe that you can get a written little bit of wisdom in a wrapped fried cookie. So I said, now's the time. Now's the time. And this comes up. How cool is that? I sent that to Danielle. Now is a great time to broaden your scope of influence. It doesn't say broaden my influence. It says broaden your scope of influence. Okay? So there's it's interesting. Because your scope of influence means now's the time to see that you can affect more, that you can be more. Now's the time. That's why I keep telling you all to buckle up. So I'm going to try to get the live feed up. And I just want to thank you all for coming. I'm going to stick around in the chat. So if you have any things to that you want to discuss, I'm pretty quick with the typing back and forth. I really hope that all you enjoyed the show. I hope that you understood where it was coming from. I hope that you understand that I wasn't taking any sides, but I hope that it opened your eyes, because if we stay quiet about these little things, you'd be surprised at what happens tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Lee, what is my opinion of Nibiru? Check out, I don't know, Lee, if you're new to the channel or not. If you are, and if any of you are, Nancy, I'm going to get to the CERN dude in a sec, definitely, because a lot of people have asked about that. But yeah, I absolutely believe in Nibiru, Planet 9, Planet X. My video I just did on Tuesday, please check that out if you haven't yet. Okay, so Metek, the CERN physicist who works over here at Brookhaven now, he was, for months and months and months, we were back and forth. He continued to say yes, yes, yes. He was going to do the show. But he's busy working on this Dune experiment. I have a show on the Dune experiment. It's crazy, on neutrinos, and that's to do with time travel and a lot of other things. Check out the Dune experiment. Go back in my my videos to check that out. I have reached out to him again. I haven't heard back. I don't know if maybe he went to my channel and maybe got a little discouraged, or if he started telling people about it and people said no. Because what's also interesting is, out of the blue, many of my Mandela videos were demonetized out of the blue, which is very strange. Like only 1 or 2 of them are up. The ones that were really dealing with the connection to CERN and other things. So anyways, I contacted YouTube, and this guy Max, he's really great. He got right back to me, and they're looking into it. I'm requesting a review. I'm not, listen, it's not, at this point, it's, I have a job, so I'm more concerned with reaching more people. It'd be nice to make a living doing this. But I guess my prayer was always that I have a little more than I need, and I'm always like one check away, I guess, But we're doing amazing. I'm very blessed, and I've been down in my life, and I've lost everything more than once, and I've been sick, and I've been through it. And every time that I come to a low point, I realize, like Jacob realized at that very low point where he rested his head on that rock and dreamed of the ladder and understood that he understood God face to face for the first time. Where he made that vow where he promised, as long as you do this and do this, which it could be a little selfish, that I'll serve you. It was at a place where you're broken. I'll come back to this place where I'm broken, and I've done it a couple of times, and it won't change. And I hope I'm not put in a position where, if I believe strongly against doing something, that I have to do it. Fashionista, I did not know that CNN is being investigated for fake news by FCC, which I think is great. Wow. And I'm sure a couple of people will get fired. If it goes that way, of course, because they'll grab a patsy, they'll get rid of the patsy, because, the network still needs to make money for the people that are in charge, right? You understand that? Fire goggles, yes, the news is definitely scripted, and it has. So I'm hoping to still get Metek on. I'm hoping to get him on. I'll email him again when this show is over. And because I can tell you, it's what they're doing. If you know anything about a black hole, they've opened them. They've opened up other dimensions. That's what a black hole is. It opens up into the 4th dimension, which is time. And it's, and if you watch the video that I just did, I guess it was last Friday or Thursday, about Stephen Hawking and the holographic principle. When you start to understand all of this stuff, you really do get a vibe that all this stuff that we're, it's like Socrates had said many, many years ago, how people can be controlled by what they perceive. And then, of course, Plato's cave, you're just so busy paying attention to the shadows. You're focused on the iPhone, and you're focused on, you don't even see what's, where you're from and what you're capable of. It's just crazy to me. Crazy to me. Look at this. We've been going for almost an hour exactly. 59 minutes and 10 seconds. And VC Williams, I'm not worried about the numbers. My anointing. Okay, my anointing has and will reach everyone. No, I agree with that. I know that everything that we do goes exactly where it is meant to go, and And I'm so grateful for so many of the comments and emails. And I got to tell you something, if I don't get back to you in a comment section or anything else, you got to understand I got so much going on, and I do try. I do it in spurts. But I'm not some multimillionaire sitting, at home giving people. I got so much stuff going on, and that's why I started doing these live streams, because I figured maybe I could communicate with more of you in real time. And Pete Farr, you're right. I noticed that. That's an interesting thing. I don't know if any of you have noticed. There aren't a lot of trolls. There aren't a lot of people coming on here, and many of the people that have attacked me, or many of the people that say bad things about me or whatever, it's only because they don't know me. And that's why I don't lash out at them. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. If a person doesn't know what they're doing, you got to help them to understand what they're doing. And you can't get them to understand by telling them they're wrong. You got to show them they're wrong by loving others. And I love each and every one of you. And I'm going to keep the chat going. I'll see you in there, but I'm going to stop the stream now. And I hope that you do have just the best Thursday ever. Okay? And I'll talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.